I'm sure by now you've heard the news. No Russian collusion, no obstruction of justice. For many conservatives, Trump supporters, and right-wing personalities, vindication. But what about those on the left who built their careers on the Russiagate conspiracy? What about the cable network channels that for years pushed this narrative? Where do they go? Well, they have no choice but to double down. The conspiracy theories are emerging because Bill Barr and Robert Mueller are friends. We can't trust the report. Some politicians are saying we need to hear from Mueller himself, even though there's a direct quote in the summary from Bill Barr saying that there was no collusion between Trump and the Russians, or any American for that matter. They're now arguing semantics in a desperate bid to save face. But I would warn those on the right as well. Healthy skepticism is always important. So today, we'll take a look at some of the fringe conspiracy theories and have a discussion about how we should be rational moving forward with this news. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to our new YouTube channel, youtube.com/subversevideos. The goal for this channel is to produce news, on-the-ground reporting, and expert interviews to strip out the spin and the bias to the best of our abilities. If you want to support this video, just share it on social media to help spread the message. The first story, and we'll just cover this very briefly as a quick update, from the New York Times. Mueller finds no Trump-Russia conspiracy, but stops short of exonerating president on obstruction. The investigation led by Robert S. Mueller III found no evidence that President Trump or any of his aides coordinated with the Russian government's 2016 election interference, according to a summary of the special counsel's key findings made public on Sunday by Attorney General William P. Barr. He cautioned, however, that Mr. Mueller's report states that while this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him on the obstruction of justice issue. The result of this report is celebration from the Trump camp, many Trump supporters and conservatives saying, yes, we were right the whole time. This was an insane conspiracy theory. And I gotta say, there are many left-wing personalities who have been cheering and gloating as well. Glenn Greenwald, Michael Tracy, and myself, we've all been very, very firm that this is a nonsense conspiracy theory. But it's important to point out how exactly some people on the left, including myself, avoided the pitfall of playing this game. And it's because of healthy skepticism. And it's because of that I want to make sure I point out a few things, because you may be gloating now, you may be celebrating, but there is always that slim possibility there is something else here. And we should take a look at some honest criticisms before looking at the weird, ridiculous conspiracy theories from the left, because they refuse to lose. Vox.com, which is associated with a more of a far left or identitarian left kind of news slant, has this story. Bill Barr's letter summarizing Mueller's finding explained. You should absolutely consider that this is Bill Barr's summary of the Mueller report, and he focuses on two main efforts. Now, he does say, the special counsel did not find that the Trump campaign or anyone associated with it conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in these efforts, despite multiple offers from Russian-affiliated individuals to assist the Trump campaign. The important thing that Vox does bring up, a fair criticism, they say, now we should note that all the quotes here refer to coordination with the Russian government. That at least technically leaves open the possibility of coordination with other Russians who aren't government officials, such as oligarchs or former Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort's associate, Konstantin Kilimnik, or with an outside group like WikiLeaks. But perhaps Mueller's fuller report clarifies the matter. It's actually a fair point that they specifically quoted a section that said, the government. It's possible there are Russian groups that aren't government affiliated, and maybe Trump colluded with some of them, or maybe someone in the Trump camp did. However, there are no further indictments. And if that's the case, then whatever else happened behind the scenes, I don't think is going to be anywhere near the level of conspiracy nonsense being spouted over the past several years, claiming that Trump was an agent of Russia or was an asset of their intelligence. Yes, MSNBC actually ran a segment where Chris Hayes entertained the notion that Trump may have been, since 1987, an intelligence asset of the KGB or the Soviet government. He did say it sounds insane, but why actually run that segment? The point is, if there's no further indictments, we're seeing that there's no collusion from any American with the Russian government. I think at this point, the issue is dead and buried. There may be something else in there. So don't dance around yet like you've won everything. Trump may still be in trouble. And you don't want to end up in the same position these Russiagate conspiracy theorists did. And the other important point is that, do you think the left is going to let this go? The Democrats probably will, in my opinion. They're probably going to back away because they don't want to be seen as crazy. But these people who've built their careers, who've built hundreds of thousands of followers, who have dedicated nonstop coverage on cable news to this, they can't let it go. I think Anderson Cooper last night did a decent job. He said this is a huge win for the president and people should be celebrating, but they're not. And let's take a look at some of the fringe conspiracies from people who refuse to let it go. Why, we can just hop over to reddit.com/all. And we can see that the third highest at the time of this filming is, why was Barr the decider? Legal experts puzzled by Attorney General's obstruction decision. r/politics on Reddit is widely seen as the mirror image to The Donald. It's not a discussion of politics. It's just basically a far-left conspiracy blog at this point. Look at the comments on this article. First of all, this is Talking Points Memo. This is another one of these outlets that was pushing this conspiracy nonstop for years. And the comments look like, this feels like when the police investigate themselves and find no wrongdoing. But it was Mueller. It was Mueller who did the investigation with nearly endless resources for years. One comment talks about how the Russian troll army was given the green light to come back in full force now. They say, nobody will know any goddamn thing until the full report is provided to Congress and made public. The comment below it, yesterday was bizarre. Thousands of people saying, well, guess we were wrong. I sure learned my lesson. Better move on and never think about this again. Was probably the media's fault anyway. I'm not saying the guy's guilty or innocent. I'm just saying that anyone who considers Barr's opinion to be the deciding factor is not aware of the situation. Some insist it's an ultimate gaslight, saying the Mueller saga is the ultimate gaslighting of the American people. We saw Trump ask Russia to hack Clinton's email. They did. We saw him repeatedly bow down to Putin. We saw him obstruct justice and boast about it to Russian operatives. We saw how many clandestine meetings and contacts were uncovered. We saw the GOP do nothing about Russian cyber attacks. He goes on. How did we get to the point that we allow conspiracy theorists for years to rant and rave about how the government is hiding all these things, how it's a big secret, it's a big cover-up? MSNBC actually entertained that it was a cover-up in the past few days. 9/11 truthers were mocked and ridiculed. Nobody wanted to believe that the president was involved in any kind of weird attack on their own people, yet now we have mainstream culture propping up these individuals who want to claim there's a conspiracy. Bill Barr is lying. Mueller, with all his resources, just didn't want to come out and go after the president. He won't indict the president. They don't even know what they're talking about. Stacey Abrams said they want to hear from Mueller, but Bill Barr quoted Mueller. I'm sure there's going to be more in this report that we need to see. And Donald Trump may not be out of the woods entirely, but it seems like, how many times does it have to be said? No collusion, no obstruction. On the point of Trump being exonerated, they're now playing semantics, saying, no, they didn't exonerate him. I'm not a lawyer, okay, but typically in legal proceedings, they don't determine innocence. They determine whether or not you were guilty of a crime. This is why the memo says they found no evidence of collusion. They didn't say he did or didn't collude. They said they have no evidence of it. On the issue of obstruction, he made no determination, passed it off to Barr, who said there's nothing here, and as far as anyone's concerned, right, that's an exoneration. No, they're not going to say Trump didn't do this and he didn't do that. That's not what investigations find. They look to see if something happened, end of story. And now what can we see? Well, this is it, the result from The Atlantic. Mueller was Trump's nemesis. Now he's his greatest asset. The president's team is already spinning the special counsel's conclusions as a plus for 2020. Hands down, Trump has gotten a massive piece of ammunition for his re-election campaign. The media has discredited themselves to a rather insane degree. Matt Taibbi called it this generation's WMDs, but to an extent worse. The media has proven they have no idea what they're talking about. The shocked faces from news anchors when they found out there are no indictments, there's no evidence, there's no collusion, there's no obstruction. Shocked. Bill Barr saying, really? Not even Trump Jr., nothing? So what do the Democrats say? Well, they'll subpoena Mueller. They want more. They won't let it go. They can't let it go. It's been several years. I really feel bad for MSNBC and their viewers. People are shocked. The only thing they have left is the conspiracy. That something must be going on. Mueller can't be telling the truth. Bill Barr must be lying. We need the report. But I'll tell you what, when Mueller's full report is made public, and maybe they'll redact something or another, it will never be enough. They will keep screaming. They have to. This is their world. In 2016, Hillary Clinton lost, but the media told us she was going to win. This didn't make sense. It can't be real. There's only one truth. There's only one solution as to why the media was wrong. It must be Russia. Trump couldn't have actually won. Americans couldn't have actually wanted to support someone like Donald Trump. No, it had to be the Russians. In 2016, they knew Hillary was going to win. Hands down, Trump could never be president. And then Trump won. And Hillary lost. The media was dead wrong. And the media asked, many people asked, how did the media get it so wrong? They're just out of touch. What happened since then? Many people said possible collusion over and over again. They entertained the thought for years. Rachel Maddow screaming Russia endlessly while she waves her arms in the air. 2019, the media knew. And they were wrong. So what now? What are people supposed to believe? Now, it may be true, some people have pointed out that there's many other things to go after Trump on. Trump still might not win 2020 because we can bring up all of these other bad things about Trump. Who's going to believe it? Your credibility was destroyed in 2016, and it's only been made worse. It's not improving. It's getting worse. And of course, over on Reddit, the Mueller subreddit, dedicated to tracking the actions of Robert Mueller, they still can't believe it, but they seem a bit conflicted. Beware the impact of gaslighting on how you process the Mueller report. They say, don't forget the things you've seen, because a 2-year investigation just isn't enough. It will never be enough. They say, Trump's attorney general doesn't want Trump's confidential written responses on Mueller released. They say William Barr did what Donald Trump hired him to do. It'll never be enough. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, the Mueller investigation's over. We have the summary. No collusion. We can move on, but they can't. This is their world. They thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. That was their world. It fell apart. But rather than reconcile, rather than self-reflect, they said, no. Am I out of touch? It was the Russians. That's the only way to explain it. I can't be wrong. My worldview can't be wrong. But it was. Because you chased this idea so far, and it's only gotten worse. They thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. That was wrong. That was a bad idea. And after she lost, they couldn't turn around. They couldn't give up. So they chased Russia, refusing to let go. And they were wrong, and they still can't give up. They've radicalized themselves to a rather ridiculous degree at this point. What do you do? Honestly, don't know. I'm going to end by saying one more important thing. I can sit here all day and night. I can gloat on Twitter. I can talk about how the media is lying to you over and over again. But it's always, always important to have some skepticism. Always keep an open mind and say, well, evidence at this point leads us to conclude there's likely no collusion. The story is defunct. It is over. Let me know what you think in the comments below. We'll keep the conversation going. You can follow me on Minds at Timcast. Stay tuned. New videos on this channel every day at 4 p.m. Eastern, and more videos coming up on my second channel, youtube.com/TimcastNews, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all next time.